And welcome, my dear friends and students. Now, in today's video, I am going to start the third chapter, that is the kinetic theory of gases and radiation. Now, this chapter also consists of two parts. The first part is kinetic theory of gases, and second part is a radiation. In first part, that is kinetic theory of gases, we have to study the properties of the gases only. So in second chapter we had seen the properties of liquid. In this chapter now we have to study the properties of gases under the head of kinetic theory of gases. And in next part, that is in radiation part, we have to study how the heat flows. Now let us concentrate on first part, that is the kinetic theory of gases. Now before starting this concept, we have to consider certain basic concepts that are given in the form of questions in our textbook. That is, can you recall? So these are the basic things before studying the concept related to kinetic theory of gases. We have to study or we have to recall. We already studied these points. We have to recall just basic concept. The first question that is asked in our textbook as a can you recall, what are the different states of matter? Now in previous chapter we already seen generally there are three states of matter which are considered as a common state of matter because we observe these states at an ordinary temperature, and two added states of matter, that's why we write here there are five states of matter. The first one solid state, second one liquid state, third one gaseous state, fourth one plasma state, fifth one Bose-Einstein condensate state. So here the first question can be recalled just by considering the different states of matter. There are five states of matter: solid state, liquid state, gaseous state, plasma state and Bose-Einstein condensate state. Out of these five, these three states are common states of matter. Why? Because now here, after considering these states of matter, now the second question that is asked, how we can distinguish between these three states of matter: solid state, liquid state and gaseous state, because these are the observable state at ordinary temperature. So second question now I have to give the answer. How do we distinguish between solid, liquid and gaseous state? So we know that generally we distinguish between these three common states on the basis of two factors. The first one, distance between two molecules, and second one, intermolecular force, that is the force of attraction between the two molecules. Now here we already studied in lower class how the distance between two molecules in solid state, how the distance between two molecules in liquid state, and how the distance between two molecules in gaseous state. So all of you know that in solid state, distance between two molecules is least. In liquid state, distance between two molecules is more in case of solid but less in case of gas. So that's why this distance is moderate. And in case of gas, the distance between the two molecules is maximum. That is more than that of the solid state and the liquid state. Now here, related to that distance, we have to consider the second factor, that is the force of attraction between them. So as this force is inversely proportional to distance, that's why here intermolecular force of attraction is maximum in case of solid state. It is minimum in case of the gaseous state, and it is moderate in case of the liquid state. So these are the two factors on which we can distinguish between solid, liquid and gaseous state. In case of solid, which are the 2 points we have to consider? In case of solid, distance between two molecules is least. It is smaller than liquid and gaseous state. In case of liquid, distance between two molecules, that is more than solid state but less than gaseous state. In case of gaseous state, distance between two molecules, that is maximum. Then you have to consider the second factor, that is the force of attraction between them. The force of attraction between two solid molecules, that is maximum, because distance between them is minimum. In case of liquid, this force is less than solid but greater than gas. That's why I write here the moderate word. And in case of gaseous state, this distance, the force of attraction between them is least, that is the minimum, because of the distance between them, that is maximum. Now the third question asked in our textbook, that is, what are the gas laws? Generally, gas laws represent the relation between three parameters: pressure, volume and temperature. So how any two parameters of the gas changes when third remain constant. So from that we can establish various laws. These laws are called as the gas laws. So simply, gas laws are the relation between pressure, volume and temperature. So that's why I write here the relation between pressure, volume and temperature of gas called as gas laws. Then next one, what is the absolute zero temperature? Next concept that is asked as, what do you mean by absolute zero temperature? This is the particular temperature at which molecules stop their random motion. All of you know that. You have to consider in kinetic theory of gases, assumptions of kinetic theory of gases, that is, gas molecules are always in state of random motion. Now this is the particular temperature at which all molecular motion that stop, that temperature is called as absolute zero temperature. So when that temperature occurs, that is for absolute zero temperature, what about the various physical quantities related to this gas? That is, so at zero temperature, 0 Kelvin temperature, kinetic energy that becomes zero. Why? Because molecules stop their motion. It means velocity of that molecule reduces to 0. So that's why kinetic energy 0. Pressure, volume, that also becomes 0 at this particular temperature. Molecular motion already stopped, we write in a definition. But this gas, or this is the condition which doesn't exist, where the pressure of the gas remains 0, volume becomes 0, kinetic energy of the gas molecules that reduces to 0. So that's why here we have to just keep in mind the definition of absolute zero temperature, that is the temperature at which all molecular motion stop, or where this is the particular temperature at which molecules stop their random motion. Then next question or next basic concept asked in the form of, what is Avogadro number? So this is the special number representing the number of atoms or molecules in 1 mole of any substance. When we consider any substance or any gas, then how many number of molecules or atoms present in 1 mole of that substance, that quantity representing the number of atoms or molecules in 1 mole called as Avogadro number, and this Avogadro number is given by m0 equal to 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. It means in 1 mole of the particular substance there are how many number of atoms or molecules? That is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. Then we write here mole. So what do you mean by mole? Simply mole is the collection of how many number of atoms or molecules? That is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. If we measure the mass of these atoms or molecules, then the total mass of that substance containing these number of molecules 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. So that combined mass containing 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 number of atoms or molecule, that is called as 1 mole. So it is a SI unit. All of you know that. We consider this quantity as a fundamental quantity in 11th class. All of you know there are 7 fundamental quantities: length, mass, time, temperature, luminous intensity, amount of substance, electric current. That's why here amount of substance, if we consider as a fundamental quantity, then its SI unit is a mole. So that's why we can write the two things. What is mole? It is SI unit of amount of substance. How we define mole? It is simply the mass of 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 number of atoms or molecules. Now the next question asks, what do you mean by ideal gas equation, and how that ideal gas equation that can be derived or obtained? We have to obtain this ideal gas equation. Now here simply again this is the gas law. So that's why the relation between pressure, volume and temperature, the relation between 3 parameters of gas, that 3 parameters are pressure, volume and temperature of a gas, that is called as ideal gas equation. And keep in mind that ideal gas equation that can be derived on the basis of 2 laws, that is Boyle's law and the Charles law. Now we have to here explain this Boyle's law, Charles law. Now let us just remember, we can obtain ideal gas equation by using which 2 laws? That is the Boyle's law and the Charles law. It is simply the relation between pressure, volume and temperature of a gas, and it can be obtained. All of you know the ideal gas equation for 1 mole PV equal to RT, and for n mole it is PV equal to nRT. Now we have to derive this ideal gas equation later on. Then when these 2 molecules of the gas collide with each other, or when many gas molecules collide with each other, then when the collision between them is said to be elastic. So all of you know that these gas molecules are always in state of random motion. That's why when they collide with each other, or when they collide with walls of the container, if their kinetic energy before collision and after collision remain constant, that is before collision we considered as kinetic energy of system, that is initial, and after collision we can consider kinetic energy as a final. So when this kinetic energy of the entire system that remain constant, then that type of collision is considered as a elastic collision. Now here we have to explain these laws under the head of introduction, that is Boyle's law, Charles law and the Gay-Lussac's law. Just consider these 3 parameters. We can easily understood or recall these 3 laws just by considering PVT as a same order. Now Boyle's law is the relation between these 2 parameters when third parameter remain constant. Now here Boyle's law states that the pressure of given mass of gas is inversely proportional to volume if temperature of the gas remain constant. What I say here, Boyle's law is the relation between two parameters, pressure and volume. How pressure and volume changes when temperature of the gas remain constant. So keep in mind, pressure of given mass of gas is inversely proportional to volume, provided the temperature of the gas remain constant. So the same thing can be written as PV equal to constant. It means product of pressure and volume that remain constant. It means if volume of the gas increases, then pressure decreases, and if volume of the gas decreases, then pressure increases. Then second law, that is the Charles law. Now it is the relation between next two parameters, volume and temperature. Now in that case, the leftover parameter remain constant. That is, volume of given mass of gas is directly proportional to the temperature, provided the pressure of that gas remain constant. What I say here, the volume of given mass of gas is directly proportional to temperature, provided the pressure of gas remain constant. The same thing can be written as V upon T equal to constant. And third law, that is the Gay-Lussac's law. Now the two parameters, that is first and the third, how pressure and temperature relate with each other. The pressure of given mass of gas is directly proportional to temperature, provided the volume of gas remain constant. So these three laws can be easily remembered by considering three parameters in order: pressure, volume and temperature. The relation between first and second parameter when third parameter remain constant, this is called as Boyle's law. The relation between here second and third parameter when first parameter remain constant, that is called as Charles law. And when we consider the relation between first and third when second parameter remain constant, this is called as Gay-Lussac's law. So you can remember this under the head of BCG. That is B for Boyle's law, C for Charles law and G for Gay-Lussac's law. So these are the three laws we have to consider in kinetic theory of gases. Now the seventh question that is asked, how we distinguish between these two types of gas, that is the ideal gas and the real gas. Which are the factors on the basis of which we can distinguish between that two gases, that is ideal gas and real gas. This is the gas which satisfies all the assumptions. We have to here consider that assumptions later on. So the gas which satisfies all the assumptions of kinetic theory of gases at all temperature, that gas is called as the ideal gas. And the gas which satisfies all the assumptions of kinetic theory of gases at only particular temperature and pressure, that is at ordinary temperature and pressure as well as at a high temperature and low pressure, that gas is called as a real gas. Now in case of ideal gas, the intermolecular force of attraction or repulsion, that is zero except during their collision. In case of ideal gas, the force of attraction or repulsion between any two molecules, that is zero. But in case of real gas, that intermolecular force of attraction or repulsion is not zero. Now it satisfies the perfect gas equation, that is PV equal to nRT for all temperature. But real gas satisfies this equation only at a high temperature and low pressure. Now this gas cannot be liquefied but real gas can be liquefied under the certain condition. Now this is the gas actually doesn't exist. Ideal gas doesn't exist and a real gas, that is the exist. So these are the certain points on the basis of which we can distinguish between real gas and ideal gas. That is, which are the points? Ideal gas follows or satisfies all the assumptions at all temperature. Here real gas follows that assumptions only at ordinary temperature and pressure or high temperature and low pressure. Here force of attraction or repulsion is zero except during collision. Here force of attraction or repulsion is not zero. Here ideal gas equation, that is satisfied for all temperature. This equation satisfied only at high temperature and low pressure. This gas doesn't exist, so that's why cannot be liquefied. This gas exists and that can be liquefied, means we can convert the gas into liquid under a certain condition. Now let us consider the derivation of ideal gas equation, which can be asked in previous question. That is just how we can derive the ideal gas equation. Which are the two laws that are necessary for the derivation of ideal gas equation? That two laws are Boyle's law and Charles law. Out of three laws BCG, Boyle, Charles and Gay-Lussac, we have to consider the two laws, Boyle's law and Charles law. Now consider 1 mole of gas enclosed in a cylinder having initial pressure P1, initial volume V1 and initial temperature T1. That is our first point of consideration. Consider 1 mole of gas enclosed in a cylinder having initial pressure P1, initial volume V1 and initial temperature T1. Now here you have to use the first Charles law. By keeping the pressure constant, we have to change the volume of gas by changing the temperature, by keeping the pressure constant. So what that Charles law state that at a constant pressure, volume of given mass of gas is directly proportional to temperature. It means we have to increase the volume by increasing the temperature. So that's why right here, by keeping the pressure constant, volume of gas increases by increasing temperature, that is from V1 to V dash and temperature from T1 to T2. So write down this mathematical formula according to this law. When volume is V1, then temperature is T1. So here volume proportional to temperature, so V1 proportional to T1. Final volume is V dash, final temperature is T2 at this stage. So that's why V1 upon T1 equal to V dash upon T2. If we separate the terms of volume and temperature, the same thing can be written as V1 upon V dash equal to T1 upon T2. Now consider the second law, that is the Boyle's law. Now in Boyle's law we have to keep the temperature constant. That's why right here, by keeping the temperature constant, now you have to reduce the pressure by you have to increase the volume by decreasing the pressure. So that's why right here, by keeping the temperature constant, volume of gas increase from V dash to V2. It means in this stage we are changing the volume initially from V1 to V dash and then V dash to V2. Volume changes that are in two states. That is from first state, that is V1 to V dash. In second state it is V dash to V2. So that's why right here now you have to increase the volume of gas. How? By reducing, by decreasing the pressure. Now use the here Boyle's law. That is pressure of given mass of gas is inversely proportional to volume. That is P1 proportional to 1 upon V dash, P2 proportional to 1 upon V2. So we can write PV equal to constant. So that's why P1 V dash equal to P2 V2. So from that we can write here V dash upon V2 equal to P2 upon P1. That is equation number 2. Now here you have to multiply equation 1 by 2. So that's why I write here V1 upon V dash multiplied by V dash upon V2 equal to T1 upon T2 multiplied by P2 by P1. Now this V dash that can be cancelled. So I write here V1 upon V2 equal to T1 upon T2 into P2 by P1. Now if we separate the terms, that is P1 V1 upon T1 equal to P2 V2 upon T2. We just separate initial pressure, initial temperature, initial volume, final pressure, final temperature and final volume. So in general we can write PV upon T equal to constant. That constant is considered as a R, that is the universal gas constant. So we have PV equal to RT. This is the ideal gas equation for 1 mole. And for n mole the same thing written as PV equal to nRT. This is the ideal gas equation for n mole. So keep in mind, in order to derive this ideal gas equation, which are the steps that should be remembered. The first one, use Charles' law. It means by considering pressure constant, you have to change volume from V1 to V dash. By changing temperature, increasing temperature from T1 to T2, and from that we write this first equation. Then consider the Boyle's law. Here now you have to keep the temperature constant. You have to increase the volume, that is from V dash to V2 by reducing the pressure from P1 to P2. Write down the equation 2. Multiply equation 1 and 2. Then here separate the terms, that is P1 V1 upon T1 equal to P2 V2 upon T2. So in general we have PV upon T equal to constant. Therefore PV equal to RT for 1 mole and PV equal to nRT for n mole of gas. So this is the ideal gas equation, derivation of ideal gas equation. Now the one more law we have to discuss here under same head, that is, can you recall, Dalton's law of partial pressure. Now here if we consider the mixture of different gases, suppose if we consider these 3 gases A, B and C, that are the ideal gases, and when we make the mixture of that ideal gases, then the pressure of this total mixture, the pressure of mixture of our ideal gases, that is the sum of partial pressure. It means whatever the total pressure of the mixture of these different gases having different moles, that is equal to the pressure exerted by the first gas, the pressure exerted by the second gas, the pressure exerted by the third gas, and so on. So here it means P1, P2 and P3. P1 is the pressure exerted by this first gas, that is the gas A. P2 pressure exerted by the second gas, that is the B. P3 pressure exerted by the third gas. If we consider only the 3 gases in mixture, so we write here P equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3. If we consider n gases, so for that we write here, generally write down the ideal gas equation as PV equal to nRT, just we derived it. Then here n is the total number of moles of the gases present in that mixture. Now if we here split that total numbers as a n1 plus n2 up to dash dash, where n1 is the number of moles of first gas, n2 number of moles of second gas, n3 number of moles of third gas. Then we can write PV equal to in bracket n1 plus n2 up to dash dash RT. Now here if we multiply by RT to every mole. So that is PV equal to N1 RT plus N2 RT up to dash dash. If we again here divide by volume, then we write here P equal to N1 RT upon V plus N2 RT upon V plus N3 RT upon V. So this N1 RT upon V gives us the pressure exerted by first gas. This N2 RT upon V gives the pressure exerted by second gas. It means the total pressure of the mixture is equal to the sum of partial pressure. The pressure exerted by first gas, pressure exerted by second gas, pressure exerted by third gas, and so on. So that is the simple law given by Dalton. That's why called as Dalton's law of partial pressure, which gives us the pressure of a mixture, total pressure of a mixture, which is the simply sum of pressure exerted by the individual gases of the mixture.